Gather round, silly gooses, and let me tell you a story about a man with a love for lollipops and a mullet that'll make you slap your mama, or at the very least give you a dose of that sweet, sweet dopamine. His name is Banhammer, Jack Banhammer, and he really enjoys hitting Alt F4 on some bougie bots with bad attitudes. Driven by a need for dopamine and the allure of a shiny new pair of shoes, Mullet MadJack blasts and carves his way through fodder and boss bots alike, all while chugging down sodas and unknowingly contributing to the never-ending cycle of consumerism. Oh, and did I mention that this mullet-clad madman also had his eyes on a beautiful influencer? I certainly don't blame him. I mean, just look at the... Okay, who was that guy? Anyway, Mullet Mad Jack is a fast-paced, high-intensity boomer shooter from the studio of Hammer 95. If you're looking for an FPS equivalent of ADHD, then this game is definitely for you. Sporting an atmosphere that will have us all wondering what the heck happened to my Tamagotchi, Mullet Mad Jack is the epitome of the 90s. You know what? I don't know whether to be hurt by the fact that the 90s is now considered retro, or just accept it and age like fine wine. What I do know, however, is that Mullet Mad Jack is a game with a whole lot to offer. From a surprisingly deep and impactful story to a slew of really cool, period-accurate weapons. We had flaming katanas in the 90s, don't fact check that. There is a lot for us to dive into. The first thing that hits you, right after that shot of dopamine that is the addicting gameplay loop. Mullet Mad Jack hones in on the need for speed and the copious amounts of hairspray by pitting you against a timer that never stops. As soon as a level begins, the timer starts, and what follows can only be described as the chaotic rush through buckets of bolts while screaming, "Screw the 1%! Depending on the difficulty you choose, your timer can either be higher or lower. I played on the normal difficulty because I am woefully average, and that meant that I had 10 seconds to find the end of the level. However, you could add more time if you wanted to by getting likes from viewers, and you earned those coveted likes by forcefully removing robots from existence. By the way, if you want to add more seconds to my timer, consider hitting that like button and kicking that subscribe button. I need my dopamine! As you traverse up the floors of the building, you will encounter increasingly difficult enemies and environmental dangers. Every new floor means more challenges to overcome in the same amount of time, which can and will prove rage-inducing. Thankfully, Mullet Mad Jack features a roguelite upgrade mechanic that helps take the edge off of that difficulty increase just a little. As you complete each level, you have the opportunity to do a little bit of retail therapy and shop for upgrades to help you on your journey upward. These upgrades range from improved weapons to player abilities, like the ability to slow time when you are down to the last 3 seconds of your life. Personally, the slow time ability saved my mullet more times than I can count, giving me the chance to gain back precious seconds of life. You know what? I'm just gonna say it. It's a shame I can't do the same thing in real life after I listened to Kenneth Copeland ramble on about God's plan for him to have another private jet. Unfortunately, at times, even this mullet-saving slow time ability isn't enough, and you will watch the final second of your life tick away, sending you straight to the game over screen. At this point, you have the option of punching a hole through your monitor, or you can start again from the checkpoint that you earn every 10 floors. While it can be frustrating to lose the upgrades, I honestly had a lot of fun seeing what new combinations worked well together. And, to make it a little easier, the game consoles you for being a mediocre gamer by giving you a permanent upgrade after every boss level. The permanent upgrades offered you improvements like new tiers of weapons or the ability to re-roll the shop. Let me tell you, silly gooses, you will want to unlock these new weapon tiers as fast as possible, because all the upgrades in the world would not matter if sending bots to the digital scrap heap wasn't an absolute blast. Thankfully, the gunplay in Mullet Mad Jack is pure, concentrated 90s adrenaline. The vast arsenal available for you to use made each run feel unique. Want to run through a crowd of robots flinging a hail of bullets into their cybernetic skulls? Well, those punchy ballistic weapons will allow you to do just that. Or maybe you just want to channel your inner weeb, don your fedora, and tip your hat to the nearest uninterested female. Then I might recommend the Flame or Ice Katana. It is honestly incredibly fun combat that will help you forget that this is likely the only experience you will ever have with fire and ice on your sword, a sensation that most people haven't felt since they were fumbling with a Trojan multi-pack in the back of a '98 Honda Civic. Now, not all weapons were enjoyable though. Honestly, the amount of recoil and pushback on the plasma gun made it feel like that weapon itself had a vendetta against me. In fact, every time I fired the weapon, I'm pretty sure I heard the 1812 overture and a voice whisper to me, "Guy Fawkes yourself." But one gun with a grudge can't spoil the vibe, especially when the entire game is an all-out assault on your senses in the best way possible. As soon as you start up Mullet Mad Jack, you are greeted with a main menu that looks like it's being displayed on an old CRT television. For those of you born after 2008, those are the TVs that came stock with static that you could feel. Displayed on that staticky screen were explosions of vibrant vaporwave colors that took me back to my days of watching Code Lyoko on Toonami. 6 inches from the screen, condemning future me to a life of squinting to see game tooltips and UIs. If Mullet MadJack didn't already wear its 90s aesthetic on its sleeve, Hammer 95 graciously gives us the opportunity to relive the past by including an entire box opening segment in his game, and y'all, it is awesome. I don't want to spoil everything for you, but if you had the opportunity to open a PC game box back in the late 90s to early 2000s, then you are going to recognize a lot of the different things that Hammer 95 included in this digital box opening. Talking about Toonami reminded me of the amazing music that often came along with that. You can't have a proper Toonami block without a killer soundtrack, and Mullet MadJack absolutely delivers on the same thing. This game is backed by a relentlessly high-octane synthwave score that perfectly fuels the on-screen carnage. It's the kind of music that makes you want to drive a DeLorean through a shopping mall, and it never lets up. This, combined with the chunky, satisfying thump of the bots exploding into scrap metal and screaming in sheer terror at the mullet-adorned blur that just obliterated their friend, creates an auditory experience that is every bit as vibrant and manic as the visuals. So, after all the bullets have flown, the dopamine has been injected, and the last echoes of that killer synthwave track fade away, what is the final verdict on Mullet MadJack? Honestly, it's one of the most confident and unapologetically fun games I've played all year. It knows exactly what it is, a shot of pure, uncut adrenaline wrapped in a loving and hilarious homage to 90s culture. From its surprisingly sharp, satirical story about consumerism to the addicting just one more run gameplay, Hammer 95 has absolutely nailed the execution. Sure, the difficulty can be rage-inducing, and some of the weapons feel like they're trying to actively sabotage you, but those are tiny smudges on the masterpiece of retro design. Taking all of this into account, I can say with confidence that this game has earned the rank of Silly Mullet Mad Goose. So, should you play Mullet MadJack? Well, if you're looking for a slow, thoughtful shooter, I would advise you to run away. But if the idea of the FPS equivalent of ADHD sounds like a compliment, and you're chasing that sweet, sweet dopamine high, then this is an absolute, no questions asked, must play. You can pick it up right now on Steam. If you like what you saw, consider hitting that like button. And if you want to see more honest and usually irreverent game reviews, dash kick that subscribe button. As always, remember that you are loved, and until next time, see ya, silly gooses. Got him with reading.